If you are anything like me, then you have played your fair share of Pokemon. You probably also watch, collect, read about Pokemon. Arguably, you eat, sleep, and breathe Pokemon. Even if your interest in this franchise goes that deep, this doesn't mean that there aren't things that might slip under the cracks. Just like with the Infinite Universe beyond, the Pokemon franchise always has more for us to discover. Discovery is a central part of what makes the games what they are. The detail taken to flesh out the regions of this world are what have kept kids and adults alike coming back. Because the ability to, play in a region is what makes it so memorable, it's understandable that possibly the least interactive region is the one that has always flown under the radar. This region is one exclusively limited to the trading card games, the Hollin region. This is not to be mistaken with the cleverly named Trading Card Game Islands from the Game Boy Color game, Pokemon Trading Card Game. That is a whole different point of discussion. It is an official Pokemon game, but due to the fact that all the trainers only use cards, we can't even say for sure if Pokemon exist in that universe, and that's some existential questions that I'm neither ready nor equipped for answering. For the sake of this video, we're going to assume that the Hollin region takes place in the same universe as the main series games. This is not only because the games are the source material for all facets of the franchise, but also because all other card sets can easily be matched to a region in the games. When looking only at the games, the least explorable region is that of the games Pokemon Colosseum and XD, the Ore region. In this region, we know nothing about the routes between central landmarks as all travel is done through fast travel. This is something I plan to discuss a little more in a future video, so stay tuned. For this video, however, what is relevant is that this form of exploration was a new concept, and at their time of release, these games astonished fans. They were used to being able to explore every inch of the regions prior. Mostly. Obviously, the Pokemon Company was enjoying the reception to the mysterious Ore region, as only 3 months after the conclusion of its story, they began the dive into the even stranger Hollin region. And with that little bit of real-world context out of the way, I believe it's time that we too dive into the Hollin region. Like many other humans throughout the Pokemon world, those that inhabit the Hollin region, and the aptly titled Hollin City, have dedicated their lives to finding and researching the mythical Pokemon Mew. Noting the strange magnetic properties of the air, the researchers decided to make the centerpiece of their town a giant research tower. This landmark doubles as a Mew radar, using the channeled electromagnetic waves to track the Pokemon. I assume this works in a similar way to how bats use echolocation, but I'm just a college student, not a scientist, so I can't really say. What we do know for certain is that these electromagnetic waves had a wonky effect on the Pokemon that inhabited the region. These effects being alterations to the types that the Pokemon once were. This is how we ended up with masterpieces such as the Fire-type Ludicolo. These peculiar Pokemon are referred to as Delta Species Pokemon. Some theorize that they chose this name as the Greek letter Delta signifies change in science, but it's also very possible they just chose it because it looked cool. I don't know, I wasn't really there. Delta Species is an umbrella term, but it is evident looking at the Pokemon expansions released in this era that a Pokemon's proximity to the city of Hollin affects how altered it is. It will be best for us to discuss the details of the Hollin region in terms of its geography. There were 5 expansions released from October 2005 to November 2006, each one subsequently exploring a location farther from the Hollin Research Tower. The first set, EX Delta Species, explores the city of Hollin itself, even using the research tower as the set symbol in the corner of the cards. Look at that, how cute. Being so close to the tower, the impact on the Pokemon here is the largest, resulting in all Final Evolution Pokemon with the Delta Species logo in their name being a Steel type, in addition to their other type. If a Pokemon in this location's type is changed, it will only be changed to Fire or Electric. From a gameplay or collecting standpoint, that kind of makes this the least interesting set, but if you're here to look too far into the lore of this region, this spot is arguably the most interesting for the proximity theory. The next 2 sets, EX Legend Maker and EX Hollin Phantoms, released in February and May of 2006, explore the forest, lake, and mountainous regions adjacent to Hollin City. Many of these Pokemon still have changed types, but many have lost the Steel dual typing that Pokemon closer to the city had. But if you close your eyes, does it The Mirage Forest, where many of these Pokemon reside, is also the home of Mew. Because what the researchers were looking for was so close to home, this probably explains why the final 2 locations are much less explored. Off the coast of the main island was a mysterious island full of powerful crystals. This island was the central point of the EX Crystal Guardians expansion released in August of 2006. According to the information given by the set, of all the locations mentioned before, this is the place with both the least human interaction and the most coexistence between normal and Delta species Pokemon. There is one more location that is even farther than the Crystal Islands. Despite this, its origins feel a little less Kumbaya-esque than the harmony of EX Crystal Guardians. In an island only visible off the horizon of the main Holland region, the Pokemon of the EX Dragon Frontier set reside. There are many factors that lead it to seem as though this island is an escape for Pokemon that wanted to get away from the human interference of their home. The first of these being that all the Pokemon on this island are Delta species, meaning they all had to come from the main island. The selling point of this expansion is that this island is where the strongest of the strong Pokemon reside, like Cynthia Garchomp strong, even though it didn't exist yet. Because all the Pokemon there are so strong, it is safe to assume that the way to get there is tough, otherwise this is where they'd all be. The elongated break from researcher interference has allowed for the artificial steel type to be dropped entirely. This steel type leaving in time would also make sense, as legendaries such as Latios and Latios are steel while in Holland, but don't have those types when they're seen in the games. Speaking of legendary and unique Pokemon, the variety of evolutionary lines living in the wild of this region is astonishing. I don't know about you, but when I see a Pokemon on a card, I assume it is a resident of the region associated with the expansion, whether it is in the wild or owned by a trainer. Saying a Pokemon is owned by a trainer helps us explain things away, such as why there is a Mightyena card in a Sword and Shield expansion despite that Pokemon not being obtainable in the games. But what can you say if there's little to no actual trainers in the region in question? In that case, we must assume that these Pokemon live in the region naturally. This means that Holland has one of the most robust and powerful groups of wild Pokemon explorable by players. I need to specify explorable by players, as the show has a lot of mysterious happenings, and we don't really have the luxury of learning more about them. Certain Pokemon could have been from the scientists and other people sent on the expedition to establish the colony, but considering very few, if any, actual professional trainers were sent, it's safe to assume these Pokemon have always called Holland their home. There are even many sightings of legendary Pokemon, and unlike the modern Pokemon games, there's no mention of interdimensional wormholes to explain why they're there. Sadly, before we could learn more, our time with Holland was over. Considering the interesting lore and in-universe significance Holland holds, it is sad that there are so many that don't know of its existence. The nostalgic significance the region has to me is almost entirely in the fact that I still have to remind myself that Latios and Latios aren't actually water and fire types. In some cases, primarily that of people who are selling their old cards after the resurgence of interest, there isn't a significant attachment at all. To me, that's pretty sad, but also, chase that bag, brother, I'm not here to stop you. Hopefully, now if you're looking through storage or on the Facebook Marketplace and see a Delta species card, you can say, hey, I know all about the scientific expedition that created that Pokemon using electromagnetic waves. Until that day come, let's talk about your favorite pieces of Pokemon history in the comments below. Like the video if that's something you did, and subscribe. It's free, so you will always get your money's worth.